Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Homestead Happenings. We are in the truck right now, and when I say we, I mean me. I am headed over to pick up Jason. I've got Keith's trailer behind me, and we are headed out to pick up a car for Missy. It has been a crazy week, guys, and I almost thought this trip was not even going to happen. You see, the other day in preparation for this trip, I changed the plugs in the truck because they were definitely due to be changed. I had already done an air filter and a oil change on it and kind of got it all tuned up. And when I did the spark plugs, 2 of the spark plug wires broke, pulling them off the spark plugs, and left the little plug still on the spark plug. So jumped on the motorcycle, went to the parts store, and got new plug wires. So replaced all those, replaced all the plugs, fired the truck up, seemed to be running just fine. And yesterday we went back over to White Rock Homestead and helped them do their chicken butchering. And on the way, probably 3-4 miles into the trip, the truck just started sputtering and spitting and just really misfiring and not running well at all. Which was concerning. So I pulled over and popped the hood. Well, somehow 3 of those spark plug wires were not pushed all the way up into the coil pack and had vibrated loose, causing that problem. So I got them up in there and got the truck over to Jason and Tara's, but it was still running really rough. It was kind of shuddering a little bit, and I had a blinking warning light come on, and for some reason the warning light that says I'm on slippery roads came on. So I'm like, okay, no problem. We got over there to Jason and Tara's and popped the hood and did the chicken butchering to kind of let everything cool down because it was super hot from the trip. And got in there, pulled a couple of the plugs out that the wires had come off, thinking, well, maybe the plug got a little fouled. You know, I was driving it and it wasn't firing, maybe it fouled. So we cleaned them up, got it back in, got all the wires on properly, got it all set up, and took it for a quick ride, and it seemed to be running just fine. But I'm sorry guys, I went over to Keith's house and hooked up to his trailer because he's only 20 minutes from them and we're an hour away from all of them. And as soon as I hooked up to his trailer, which put a little bit of a load on the truck, it started sputtering and shimmying pretty badly. And I called Jason last night. I said, hey, we might have to implement plan B, because he had said, hey, if something's going on with your truck, we'll just take my truck. It's not a big deal. Cover my fuel expenses and we'll take his truck. And I'd like to use my own truck. There's wear and tear, but that's a super nice offer for Jason. And luckily we had that in place to make happen. So while I was on the phone with Jason, we started spitballing what could be causing this problem, because it seemed like it was something different than just spark. that didn't really line up with me as coming together to what the symptoms were. And I had explained to him, well, there's an electronic hiccup somewhere in this truck anyway, because every once in a while my dashboard has an indicator panel on it, and you can scroll like between the speedometer and between your fuel economy and the radio and your oil pressure and all that. It would just automatically switch from my fuel economy to the radio display. And it would do that several times. And so I knew that there was some kind of a hiccup going on with the electronics. And once we said that, Jason, he was a tank mechanic for a long time in the Marines. And he said, you might have some kind of an electronic gremlin going on with your truck. And once he said that, a light bulb went off, where I said to myself, well, the brake controller that is automatic in this truck wasn't working when we brought the trailer down here, when we bought our camper down here. So I picked up, an aftermarket brake controller, and I plugged it into the wiring harness and ran a wire all the way back to my plug, so that I was bypassing what was going on in the truck, essentially, and not sending current, back through that harness, through the system, and maybe causing an issue. Well, I realized I had hooked that back up yesterday after I did the tune-up on the truck. So I got up first thing this morning, went out, took that brake controller out of the truck, and re-hooked up my truck controller, just so that the wiring harness in the truck was back to stock. I really didn't have a lot of anticipation that the truck brake controller was actually going to continue to work from that point forward. I just figured, let's get the wiring harness completely back to stock and see if we can keep from having any major issues moving forward. Well, lo and behold, the brake controller works now. The stock brake controller in the truck works just fine. It's operating as it's intended. And for the most part, the shimmy and the shake that I was getting out of the truck on the way home last night has pretty much solved itself. So I think that there was an electronic gremlin or a grounding issue of some kind going on with that brake controller that was causing all kinds of sensors in this truck to malfunction. We put a code reader on it, and it was reading rich fuel content on both sides of the engine. And I had noticed that the truck was a little stiff in its shifting, meaning that when I'm cruising along and it's in 6th gear and I start heading up a hill, it didn't really kick down the way I was hoping that it would, the way it has always run in the past. And I was thinking, well, if it's struggling in 6th gear to climb a hill under some kind of a load, that could cause a little bit of a shimmy going on, because you're basically bogging down the engine. And once I give it a little gas and manually make the transmission kick down, it just ran just perfectly fine. And that seems to be what is the case now. The truck is by no means doing what it was doing yesterday. It's running really, really good. I'm super confident in the truck now. But I do believe, because Jason also said, hey, when was the last time you did a transmission fluid and filter in this truck? And I said, oh, I don't know, 80,000 miles ago? It was a long time ago. And knowing me, I bought the cheapest possible transmission filter when I put that thing in here, and probably used Walmart transmission fluid instead of good Dextron transmission fluid. I think it's just a shifting issue. I don't think there's necessarily a problem with the transmission, because it's not slipping, and it's got plenty of power. But if you guys who are older, you remember the older transmissions, the old, Dana 350 transmissions, well, they operated on vacuum, and that kickdown operated on a vacuum pump. And if you got a vacuum leak in your car, it would do what my truck was doing. It would just not really want to kick down when the opportune moment was for it to kick down. And sometimes you would have to just give it a little bit more gas and manually make it kick down, and it would be perfectly fine. So I'm tending to believe that that is what I am dealing with. So I'm probably going to have to do another transmission fluid and filter change on this truck very, very, very soon. But I'm feeling confident that we can head out to the western side of the Ozarks and jump. We're actually going into Missouri, just over the border to Arkansas, to pick up this car. But I am feeling confident that we can take this truck, guys, and we will be perfectly fine. I don't really see a big issue, but I also don't want to jinx anything, because you know what they say about karma, and I don't want to upset the gods that they need to teach me another lesson, because life is a test, and it's what you do with adversity, and when problems arrive, that really makes you who you are. And I think there's nothing I can do. I've just got to keep struggling, keep moving forward, keep trying to make things happen as best I can, and put out the fires that I can when those fires are burning hottest. So that's what's going on with us here on the homestead for today, guys. Thanks for joining us, and thanks to all our members. Words are hard. Thanks to all our members for joining up. We really appreciate it. You guys are the best. We'll see you on the next one. Bye.